On at 3:50 with Children's BBC. We're back at 9:05 tomorrow with our Tony Robinson special Herod's Christmas and Baba Goes to New York. Charlie Chalk is on in just a second.
We'll see you tomorrow at 9:05. Bye-bye.
The nightmare begins.
Come to Grands this Christmas.
That's a good one.
With 2.4 Children, tonight at 8 on BBC One.
Cliff Richard, Susan Hampshire and the Shadows find themselves cast out to sea, but the film world beckons in the musical comedy Wonderful Life in 5 minutes. First on BBC One, the news with Chris Lowe. It's 11 o'clock.
The Prime Minister is due to arrive in Bosnia about now. It's John Major's first visit to British troops taking part in the humanitarian aid operation. Before leaving, he said the troops were performing heroically in difficult and hazardous conditions. Mr. Major is first flying to the Croatian port of Split and will then be taken by helicopter to the Bosnian border, where he'll distribute Christmas presents to members of the Cheshire Regiment. Meanwhile, the Bosnian capital Sarajevo has received its first batch of food aid for almost 2 months.
Mr. Major left Heathrow for the Croatian port of Split, from where he'll travel by armoured car into Bosnia to meet the British troops. But he'll not be taken close to the fighting. He's carrying gifts of pop music for the soldiers. Meanwhile, the first food convoy for almost 2 months has arrived in the besieged Bosnian capital, Sarajevo. 7,000 packages were handed out in the city this morning, part of an overall package of 30,000 food parcels from the French relief agency Première Urgence. Priority for the first batch of aid is going to children and old people. It's hoped that new initiatives by Lord Owen, co-chairman of the Conference on the Former Yugoslavia, will help to ease the passage of aid to the city. He left yesterday after 4 days spent negotiating with the leaders of the 3 factions in Bosnia.
A murder inquiry has begun in Cornwall after a 99-year-old woman was attacked in her bed. Sarah Burke was assaulted by an intruder at an old people's home in Redruth on Sunday. She died in hospital this morning. Christine Stewart reports.
Sarah Burke was only weeks away from her 100th birthday when an intruder broke into her room and viciously beat her about the head, breaking her jaw and cheekbone. She died in hospital in Truro early this morning. Police, who've made an extensive search of the home, say it appears to have been a motiveless attack. It's not clear how the attacker broke into Mrs. Burke's ground floor room. Cornwall Social Services have been quick to defend security at the Green residential home in Redruth. Detectives say they're now counting on the public's help to find her killer.
At least 6 people have been injured in a pile-up on the M6 near Knutsford in Cheshire. The police have cleared the wreckage and the motorway is now open. About 14 vehicles were involved and the police say that although it was freezing, there was no fog. They blame the accident on people driving too fast and too close to the vehicle in front. The Israeli government is putting soldiers with riot gear on alert to prevent 400 expelled Palestinians from crossing the border from Lebanon. During the night, the Palestinians came under artillery fire. 2 of them were wounded. Later today, the Israeli Supreme Court will again review the deportations. Civil rights lawyers are calling on the court to declare the expulsions illegal and order the Palestinians return. That's it. More news at 1 o'clock.
And now the news for the eastern counties. Good morning. 75 jobs are to go in Lowestoft in the new year. Graysby Controls is switching work to its new parent company, Lawrence Scott and Electromotors in Norwich, but nearly 50 people could be offered transfers. A man is recovering in Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge this morning after being trapped in a burning building. Fire crews broke into the Curry Centre in Castle Street after hearing banging on the front door. In Ipswich, fire investigators are trying to establish how a town centre cafe went up in flames early this morning. 30 firefighters were called to the Nip-In Cafe in St Helens Street. The building was alight and neighbouring buildings were threatened. A security guard has been attacked and knocked unconscious in Cambridge. The guard was checking a vehicle at the rear gate of Marshall's Airport at about 2:30 this morning when the attack happened. His clothes were slashed and he received facial injuries. Police are investigating the incident. Trading Standards officers in Suffolk have seized a shipment of more than 1,200 potentially dangerous toys. The hazardous cargo had been shipped to Felixstowe from Korea. It contained toy huskies whose hair came out. Trading Standards officers say the toys could have caused children to choke. That's it from us. We're back at 5 to 1 this morning.
Hello once again. Well, it's December and it's a typical December day. We've had some frost and fog. A lot of it's now gone, and apart from this thin band of cloud, it's going to be a glorious afternoon. One or two persistent fog patches, possibly around South Yorkshire or Lincolnshire. Otherwise, I think it'll also be relatively dry. The odd spot of rain here and there. However, the temperatures will not be very high, 4 or 5 degrees typically, and where it does stay rather cloudy, or particularly up in the Grampians where there's still some snow on the ground, the temperature may not get above 0. And then soon after dusk, it'll start to get very cold, a widespread frost tonight. Moderate or severe would be the official description, down to -4 to -6 in many places, with more fog patches forming and again some ice on the roads. And that'll be the story for the next 2 or 3 days. Frost, ice and fog that could well be difficult to move. Wednesday, on the whole, will turn out to be a rather better day as far as the sunshine is concerned for those in southern Scotland. Otherwise, little change to the rest of us. Some persistent fog, a cold day as well. And how about the prospects as we move towards the end of the week over Europe? Well, high pressure sitting over the Baltic states, low near the Algarve. Moving through Wednesday and Thursday, things change very little from today. So essentially, still rather unsettled over parts of Spain and Portugal, reasonably settled in the Med and through Eastern Europe, but fairly cold and cloudy in most places.
Is that nice?
Yeah, that is really good. Don't answer it.
Why not?
It's Del.
How do you know?
That's his ring. There was a bloke I used to know at evening school. He reminded me of you in many ways. Yeah, he was a really bright, dynamic, go-ahead sort of bloke, you know. But like I say, in other ways, he reminded me of you.
Del and Rodney in a special Christmas Day, Only Fools and Horses, at 6:55 on BBC One.
Wildlife filmmakers John and Simon King show the events that occur in a year in the life of Drift, the mute swan, on BBC Two in 10 minutes.